100% with Putin. Would you say your relationship with Vladimir Putin is at its lowest point right now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to go back on his word. You're talking about Putin. I don't think he's going to go back on his word. I've known him for a long time. We've always gotten along well, despite the Russia hoax. It's a hoax created by Clinton and Schiff and all of these lunatics. And that really was a dangerous point. That was a very dangerous thing they did to this country. It was a pure, unadulterated scam, hoax. But no, I think he'll be okay. But if he isn't, I was disappointed in a certain way. Some of the things that were said over the last day or two having to do with Zelensky, because when he considers Zelensky not credible, he's supposed to be making a deal with him, whether you like him or you don't like him. So I wasn't happy with that. But I think he's going to be good. And I certainly wouldn't want to put secondary tariffs on Russia, but if they were put on, it would not be very good for them. Zelensky, by the way, I see he's trying to back out of the rare earth deal. And if he does that, he's got some problems, big problems. We made a deal on rare earth, and now he's saying, well, I want to renegotiate the deal. He wants to be a member of NATO. Well, he was never going to be a member of NATO. He understands that. So if he's looking to renegotiate the deal, he's got big problems.
This is my video update on this Monday afternoon, March the 31st, coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And we've got a whole lot of news that we need to talk about today. And we are going to start things off with some breaking news. And that is coming out of France. We have the verdict in the Marine Le Pen trial. She has been found guilty, sentenced to five years of no politics. She will not be able to hold a political office for 5 years. And she will have 4 years in prison. 2 of those years are suspended, and the other 2 are Le Pen wearing some sort of an ankle bracelet. That's the verdict and the sentence coming out of France from the Marine Le Pen trial. The charge was embezzlement. She took funds, EU funds, and used those funds in order to pay for staff and expenses back home in France. That's pretty much the charges. A lot of people say that she's guilty. A lot of comments when I talk about the Marine Le Pen case. They come back at me and say, well, Alex, she probably did these things. Maybe. I don't know. But you have to be kidding yourself if you think that these charges, this verdict against Marine Le Pen are really about taking EU funds and using those funds to pay staffers in France, which is probably something, if I had to take a guess, and this is just a guess, this is probably something that most European politicians do, which is take funds from Brussels and use those funds back home in order to pay for all kinds of stuff. Just a guess. I'm just taking a guess here, but I imagine that this is not something that is unique to Marine Le Pen, but the fact that she's gone through this trial, has been found guilty, is all about the elections in France, I believe in 2027, and about making sure that Marine Le Pen is not able to stand in those elections, because the polling does show that Le Pen and her party are in the pole position to win those elections in France in the next couple of years, and the Brussels Center could never allow that. Even though my own personal beliefs about Marine Le Pen is that she reminds me very much of a Meloni type figure, which is that she positions herself as anti-globalist to the right, but I always pictured her as very much like Meloni, someone who could easily be moved over to a pro-NATO, pro-collective West position. Maybe I'm right about that. Maybe I'm wrong. I never saw Le Pen as that anti-establishment, though she has said that she is against the conflict in Ukraine, and she has said this many times. But when it comes to Brussels, there's no way that they were going to take the risk of having someone like Le Pen leading a country as important to Europe as France. So it's my opinion that they obviously took preventative action to make sure that she is sidelined for the next 5 years. So that's the situation in France. Marine Le Pen has been Georgescu'd. That's a new verb, Georgescu'd. Using lawfare to remove a politician that the establishment does not approve of. Georgescu'd. That's what's happened to Marine Le Pen. Democracy, EU style, collective West style democracy in action. Those collective West values, everybody. And they lecture the world on their democracy and on their values. You have Georgescu, now you have Le Pen. Friedrich Merz gave an interview and said that when he officially becomes Chancellor of Germany, he's going to go after Orban. The empire is picking off their rivals one by one, or people that they believe could be rivals. They're picking them off one by one, the empire, the globalist empire. That's what Merz said. He is going to go after Orban. Who's next? Who is next? The AfD, of course. No doubt that Germany's establishment is going to go after the AfD. There you have it. They went after Fico. They definitely went after Fico in a very violent way. Dangerous times to be a European politician who's even remotely anti-establishment or even remotely goes against the establishment groupthink. Very dangerous times. All right, so that's the big breaking news. Let's now talk about Trump, the one politician who defeated lawfare in 2016, then fell a victim to lawfare in 2020, and then reemerged to defeat lawfare in 2024. Let's talk about US President Trump. And yesterday, he allegedly called up NBC News, and allegedly he told Kristen Welker of NBC News that he's pissed off with Putin. Very pissed off with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The reason he's pissed off with Russian President Vladimir Putin is because, according to NBC News, and Kristen Welker was very excited as she was delivering this news. This was my opening video segment from yesterday's video update. She was very excited about this report. The reason that Trump is pissed off with the Russian president is because he thinks that it wasn't proper for Putin to say that Zelensky is illegitimate. That's reason number one. He didn't like it when Putin was saying that Zelensky is not credible. I believe that those are the exact words, not credible. And then he said that he's upset that they can't get a ceasefire. They can't get a ceasefire. And according to what Trump told NBC News, if Putin does not help get a ceasefire, and Trump believes that Russia's at fault, that's what he said, according to NBC News. If he believes that it's Russia's fault that they can't get a ceasefire, then he is going to place 25% secondary sanctions on Russian oil. That's the story. That's the story, Morning Glory. Yep. 25% tariffs on Russian oil, secondary tariffs on Russian oil. That means anyone that is transporting, selling Russian oil will be slapped with a 25% tariff. Who cares? Who cares at this point? That's what I have to say. I don't think Russia cares. I don't think anybody cares about this whole tariffs narrative anymore. Maybe Europe cares, the UK cares, Canada cares, but I think the rest of the world is looking on at Trump's never-ending tariff threats, and I just think they're kind of tired of all of this. Trump is going to place tariffs on the world tomorrow. I believe tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, is what Trump calls American Liberation Day or something like that, where everybody in the world is going to get tariffs. So whatever, let him place 25% secondary tariffs on Russian oil. You're never going to be able to stop the buying and selling of oil. It's never going to happen. Believe me, never going to happen. Chris Rock had a comedy routine. He wasn't talking about oil, he was talking about crack. But back in the day when Chris Rock was not woke and extremely funny, but he was talking about crack, and I'm gonna relate this to oil. I don't think you're ever gonna have a country that is sitting on a bunch of oil saying, how do I sell this oil? I've got all this oil. How am I gonna sell it? What do I do with all this oil? Chris Rock was talking about crack when he was saying this routine, but it's easily carried over to oil as well. Russia's not going to be sitting on all this oil saying, man, what do I do with all this oil? How do I sell all this oil? Trump has placed secondary tariffs on all this oil. No one wants to buy it. People are going to buy it. Countries are going to buy it. They'll probably buy it outside of the US dollar. Why not? A meaningless threat from Trump. And then he walked it back. He was on Air Force One, and reporters asked him the question, your relationship with Putin is at an all-time low, right? Reporters are very happy about this. Collective West reporters are really happy about the threat that Trump made. Your relationship with Putin is at an all-time low. And Trump walked the whole thing back. He said, yeah, kind of disappointed that Putin said that Zelensky is not credible, but I trust Putin, and I think he's going to work towards getting a ceasefire, and we're going to work together to figure this out. And that was Trump's reply to reporters. Pretty much, that was his reply to the reporters. And then he lashed out at Zelensky. That was great. Then he lashed out at Zelensky, and he said, you know what? By the way, Zelensky, I hear, wants to renegotiate the rare earth deal. And if he wants to renegotiate the rare earth deal, then he's got big problems if he thinks he's going to be able to renegotiate the rare earth deal. So that was what Trump said about Zelensky, which to me hints that maybe, just maybe, Trump is indeed going to use Zelensky's flip-flopping on the rare earth deal and constantly trying to stall the rare earth deal or negotiate the rare earth deal, a deal that he cannot possibly sign. It's an impossible deal to sign for any world leader. But perhaps Trump is going to use that as an excuse to finally walk away from Project Ukraine. Maybe that's what he's going to do. We'll wait and see on that one. But he did say that if Zelensky thinks he's going to renegotiate this rare earth deal, he's got very, very big problems. So that was a day in the life of U.S. President Trump. Oh man! But you know, my video update yesterday, when I was down that way actually, and I was by the beach, and I was showing the bottle brush, Australian bottle brush tree. Is that correct? Thank you to everyone in the comments that knew that tree from Australia, it seems. But as I was talking about Trump next to that tree, I did say that, you know, Trump just met with Alexander Stubb, the president of Finland, and Stubb is an uber warhawk, super duper Russia hater, and anything that Trump says after his meeting and playing golf with Stubb, don't take it seriously, because when Trump talks to these guys, he then goes out to the media and repeats what they told him, and no doubt that Stubb was going to tell Trump all kinds of nasty things about Russia and Putin, and no doubt that Trump was going to go out to the media and repeat the things that he heard from Stubb. And don't take it seriously. Trump will change his mind in 24 hours after he throws a fit over everything that Stubb told him. I said this is a standard procedure for Trump. He talks to someone, they tell him something, he goes to the media, he repeats it, and then he takes a step back and he says, okay, maybe it wasn't as Stubb told me, and maybe I need to walk this back. And that's what I think we saw yesterday. That's just my guess, but I talked about this in my video update from yesterday, that this would happen, and sure enough, it didn't take long for Trump to lash out at Putin, then for Trump to walk it back, and then for Trump to lash out at Zelensky, because Zelensky is playing games with the rare earth deal, no doubt about it. But to be fair to Zelensky, it is a deal that is impossible for him to sign. Absolutely impossible for him to give up Ukraine's resources forever, in perpetuity, forever to the United States. An impossible deal. But perhaps a way for Trump to walk away from Project Ukraine. Zelensky did say to Kristen Welker of NBC News a long time ago, he did say that he will do anything for money. What do you guys want for me to give you in order to get money? You want a loan? Give us a loan. Give us a loan, Zelensky said. I remember that interview. He said, give us a loan. We'll take a loan, but we need the money. That's what Zelensky said. So he kind of put himself in this position. He maneuvered himself in this position. And he did tell Lindsey Graham as well that Ukraine has a lot of minerals, a lot of resources. Wouldn't it be great, Sir Lindsey Graham, if you gave us security guarantees and protection for these minerals and money, weapons for these minerals? So he maneuvered himself in this position, no doubt about it. Anyway, now we move on to the New York Times article that they published yesterday, which has a lot of people talking. The New York Times article has the title, "The Partnership, the Secret History of the War in Ukraine. This is the untold story of America's hidden role in Ukrainian military operations against Russia's invading armies." That's right, everybody. It's the untold story. Untold story to who? Who doesn't know that this is, at a minimum, a proxy war between the United States and Russia? And it's much more than that. And the New York Times admits that this is much more than a proxy war between the United States and Russia. Let's go. Let's cross. Make our way over to the beach if we can. So the New York Times, they published this article saying that this is a secret that has now been revealed for everybody, the untold story of the conflict in Ukraine, that it was all this time the United States that was basically running the show in this conflict with Russia. The United States was doing everything. The command, the targeting, the intel, we're talking about everything. It was all being run out of Germany. They had a big command and control center in Germany with all of the US generals there, all of the bigwig hotshot generals in Germany, and basically Ukraine was, let's go this way, I think I can get through. Basically, Ukraine was just the forces on the ground. That's it. That was the purpose of the Ukrainians. Everything else was being run and directed by the US military, Austin and Cavoli, and the superstar General Donahue. He featured prominently in this article, General Donahue. He's the Michael Jordan of generals. That's how they portrayed him in this New York Times post. Long article, very, very long article. I unfortunately read the entire article, but man, is it a long article. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I will probably need a 3-hour video to go through the entire article, which is a bunch of lies. And I'm saying that very straight up with everybody. The article is a bunch of lies about the conflict in Ukraine, starting with the big one, which is that this is a secret that is just now being revealed to everybody, that the US was in a war with Russia. It does vindicate the Duran's reporting because we have been saying, not that this was just a proxy war between the US and Russia, but that this was much more than a proxy war between the US and Russia. Alexander calls it a coalition war between the West and Russia, led by the United States. And that's the picture that the New York Times puts out there in this post. And so the summary of this article, I'm just going to summarize this article. We do a deep analysis of this article on the Duran, the main channel, me and Alexander. So look out for our analysis of this article on the Duran channel. But if I had to summarize this New York Times article, I would say this. The article basically says that yes, this is a proxy war, much more than a proxy war between the US and Russia. The Biden administration, they were winning this war against Russia easily. The Biden administration, Lloyd Austin, who's also portrayed as a military genius, Cavoli, the military genius of General Donahue, they were absolutely demolishing Russia, easily defeating Russia. The New York Times portrays Russia as completely, the Russian military is completely incompetent. They can't do anything right. And Biden would have delivered victory for the United States in the 2023 spring, summer, winter, super duper counter offensive that offends me and offends you and offends everybody. Biden was ready to deliver the knockout blow to Russia. If only the Ukrainian generals and Zelensky listened to what the US command were telling them. It was the Ukrainian generals at the end of the day and Zelensky's hubris that thwarted the Biden administration's victory over Russia, a victory which would have led to Crimea being captured by the United States and by the collective West, which would have led to the downfall of the Putin government, eventually to the breakup of the Russian Federation. The article doesn't say this, but it implies this. It does make the case. The article does make the case that this was nothing about Ukrainian democracy or human rights or anything like that. The article absolutely makes the case that this was a Vietnam-style war between Russia and the United States, And this war was all about the Biden administration inflicting a devastating, crushing defeat to Russia and the Russian military. The article makes it crystal clear that that's what this war was all about. And so that's the article. The article, it basically says, Biden administration, awesome. U.S. military generals, super duper awesome. Just about to defeat Russia. Just about to defeat Russia with the counteroffensive of 2022 and 23. But the Ukrainian generals, they disobeyed the orders of the U.S. generals, Syrskyi and Zelensky. They disobeyed orders. They started to muck around in Bakhmut and to get involved with Bakhmut and all of that stuff. And Zelensky, well, Zelensky also disobeyed orders from the United States because Zelensky was chasing a big PR win. He was always looking for a big PR military victory so he can secure more money. And that led to the 2023 super duper counteroffensive failing, stalling. Russia did not win. Russia did not defeat the collective West in the counteroffensive in the South. No. Russia did not win. It was because of the insubordinate, disobeying Ukrainians and the ego-driven hubris of Zelensky that led to the failure of the 2023 counteroffensive. And then it all unraveled, according to this article. Everything then unraveled. Trust was broken between the United States and Ukraine. And the Biden administration was left with nothing else to do but to keep Ukraine afloat until the elections. And they did that by helping Ukraine target Crimea, target Sevastopol. Remember that whole beach, the missiles, the Storm Shadow missiles on the beach? That was the United States. Hitting pre-2014 Russia, that was also the United States. That's how they helped Ukraine stay in the military game until the elections. And then Trump wins, according to the New York Times. Trump is going to come into office and he's going to wind down the conflict, and you're going to have the eventual Ukraine capitulation, because Trump is going to wind down what Biden so successfully started and almost accomplished. There you guys have it. That is the New York Times article. Fiction, propaganda, delusional, but that's what they published. And the New York Times claims that they interviewed 300 people involved with the operation. Of course, they didn't interview anyone on the Russian side. No Russian politicians, no Russian military officials, no Russian independent analysts. They didn't interview anyone for the Russian perspective. Go figure. But that's their accounting of the war. That's the New York Times. They make an excuse for Kursk as well. They provide a nice excuse for Kursk. All Ukraine's fault. Biden, no blame on Kursk for Biden. No blame on the United States for Kursk. Actually, according to the New York Times, the Americans had no idea. For 2.5 years, 3 years, the U.S., according to the New York Times, they were providing all of the intel, all of the command. Everything was being run out of the United States. But when it came to Kursk, they just had no idea that Ukraine was going to enter Kursk. And if they had consulted with the Americans would have told them, don't enter Kursk. That's a trap. But Zelensky did it anyway, because Zelensky was looking for PR points. And the whole Kursk debacle blamed on Ukraine as well. It's quite an amazing article for the New York Times. Biden, completely absolved, completely innocent of any of the catastrophe that is the conflict in Ukraine. All the blame's going to be shifted to Trump. The Russians deserve nothing. They got no victory. They didn't accomplish anything. They did nothing right. They did nothing correct throughout this whole conflict, the Russian military. They're not even remotely in the same level as the U.S. military, according to the New York Times. Not even close to the level of competence and professionalism of the U.S. military. The Russians are not even in the same ballpark But because of Ukraine's incompetence, because Ukraine did not listen to orders, because Syrskyi and Zelensky would not obey the U.S. orders, would not follow through on U.S. strategy, the brilliant master plan of Biden and Austin and Donahue and Cavoli fell apart. Oh my God. Limassol, Beach Cat, my friend, how you doing? How are you doing, Limassol, Beach Cat? Life is good, huh? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, I've got some food for you. Let's see here. Yes. 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 Yes, yes, yes. I've got something for you. Here we go. I took out the wrong thing. This is the food. This is the food. You want to know what I took out instead? I took out this antibacterial wet hankies. No, that's not what I'm going to give you, Mr. Cat. I'm going to give you food, but the problem that I have is, can I put the food? Let me put it on the bag. Should I put it on the bag? One sec. One sec. I don't know if I can, I'm a little worried. Here you go. Let's put it there. Let's put it on the bag. I don't want to put it on the sand. Am I still recording? Yes, I'm still recording. So I put it on the Duran bag, and I don't want to put it on the sand, and I don't really have a place anywhere else for our friend here to eat this food. So I'll just do my video as the Limassol Beach Cat digs into the delicious treats sent by a viewer. Thank you so much. I'll just tuck this under here and I will throw it away when I'm done. Let me get everything in order here. Am I still recording? Can you guys see me? Yeah. Okay. So Mr. Cat or Mrs. Cat, I don't know. That's the New York Times article. I think I will wrap it up there. It's kind of it's a disgraceful article, because when you read an article like this, you wonder how in God's name can Putin or Russia or the Russian people ever work with the United States. When you read an article like this, the article openly bragging about the United States striking Russia, striking civilian targets. There's no regret, there's no remorse, none of that. There's almost exuberance, jubilation from the Biden White House and his generals about inflicting damage and destruction to Russia. So you read an article like this and you say, my God, how will Russia ever be able to normalize relations with the United States? But that's why you have leaders like Putin, and hopefully Trump can finally get on board with some of Putin's ideas, specifically the UN idea to administer Ukraine. I don't know how all of this is going to work out, but it's a pretty shocking, despicable article. I was actually upset when I read this article yesterday evening. I was very upset reading this article. They actually have in this article, it's cinematic in a way as well. I mean, you could see like a movie coming out of this article, because they talk about this General Donahue, and he became friends with his Ukrainian interlocutor, a guy named, what was that guy's name? I believe Zabroutsky or something like that. I forgot his name. Anyway, this guy was on the Ukrainian side, and Donahue was the U.S. general when the operation first started. and they worked together, and they had their ups and downs, and then they became best bros, and they were on boats together and fishing together. I don't know, just stuff like that. And they created this kind of friendship, right? The U.S. and the Ukrainian guy, they created this friendship, and they worked together to defeat Russia. Then Donahue was reassigned somewhere else, and the friendship had to break apart. And as they were saying their goodbyes, the New York Times said that as they were saying their goodbyes on the tarmac of an airport, of an airstrip, the Ukrainian guy was thanking Donahue, and Donahue was thanking the Ukrainian guy, and they were giving each other medals. And you could see how they can spin this into some sort of a Hollywood movie or something like that. Just despicable stuff, man. Absolutely despicable stuff. Anyway, that was the New York Times article. Check out the Duran for an in-depth analysis of the article. Alexander makes some excellent points. A final point on this article: you read this article and you understand why the Europeans are so delusional about Project Ukraine and why they believe they can defeat Russia. Because if they're getting this type of information from the United States and from the military generals about the progress of the war, if this is the information that a prime minister or president in Cyprus or Greece or Portugal or Spain or whatever, this is the information that they're getting about the war, then yeah, they're delusional. They are absolutely delusional, and this explains a lot as to why they think they can defeat Russia. It explains a whole lot as to why they believe the Russian military is incompetent and weak, and why Biden is an awesome superstar. It goes a long way to explain all that stuff. Anyway, let's do some quick news stories because this video is going to be very long. Let's see, a lot of news, a lot of big news. Israel demands Hamas leave Gaza. West Jerusalem will ensure security in the enclave once the militant group goes, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said. So Netanyahu came out with a statement yesterday, and he said that if Hamas lays down their arms and walks away, then the conflict in Gaza will be over. This is what Netanyahu said. I'm paraphrasing what he said. The war in Gaza will be over, and Israel will administer Gaza, and they will follow Trump's plan for Gaza. That was Netanyahu's statement. And this follows up on Egypt's. You guys probably want to see the cat, not me. This follows up on Egypt's proposal that they made last week for renewing the ceasefire, where Hamas agreed to Egypt's proposal. Israel saw the proposal, and the latest reports are that Israel issued some counters to Egypt's proposal to renew the ceasefire. And that's where we were with the Egyptian proposal for the ceasefire. And so we have the Egyptian proposal, and now we have Netanyahu's statement yesterday for the conflict in Gaza. That's an update there. And then we have the update of Trump's third term, where Trump, my legs got tired, where Trump said that, and I think he's trolling here, that a third term as president is absolutely on the table, and the media is flipping out over this. How was it? Was it good? You still have some food, but I'll just leave this on the beach. Whatever is left. All right. Yeah, so Trump, I believe, is trolling here. And he's talking about a third term as president. The media is flipping out. And they're saying, oh my God. Any final words as I keep walking to everyone watching? Any final words to the Duran community? Okay, no final words. All right, my friend, take care. Have a good afternoon. And hopefully I see you around. Let's toss this. Adios. Adios, amigo. So I forgot what I was saying. I was talking about Trump's third term. Anyway, he's trolling. I think he's trolling, even though he says he's serious and the media thinks that he's serious. Actually, there is a way for a third term, that you can get a third term from my reading of this, I don't know if this is correct, but there are people, analysts, that say you could have a third term if Vance wins the election and then hands over the presidency to Trump, something like that. And that could realistically be Trump's third term. But I mean, how old would Trump be for a third term? I mean, he's trolling, man. That's my belief, is that he's trolling. Anyway, let's do a clown world and we'll wrap this video up. And the first clown world, we go back to France. I don't know when this video was taken, but it's circulating the interwebs of Macron pretending to be Napoleon. Like, really pretending to be Napoleon. He's inspecting the French troops, and he is really playing the part of Napoleon. Macron is an actor. When he was a teenager, he was an actor, and he really is acting the part of Napoleon in this video. It's pretty funny to watch Macron act like Napoleon. Very funny. Oh, there's the turtle. An empty beach. I bet you in the summer, this is the place to be, huh? No doubt about it. This is the place to be in the summer. Right now, it would be a good place to grab a drink, to grab a beer, and just kind of chill out here, watch the sunset. That wouldn't be bad either, huh? Anyway, Macron playing it up like Napoleon. Check it out. So that's Macron, little Napoleon, acting like little Napoleon. And the final clown world. And we go to Kaja Kallas, stunning and brave Kaja Kallas. Let's see, the American Academy has awarded the Henry A. Kissinger Prize to Kaja Kallas in recognition of her outstanding contribution to the transatlantic relationship. Wow. Kaja Kallas got the Kissinger Award. She got the Kissinger Award for diplomacy. Kaja Kallas, stunning and brave. Oh, what's the quote from this post from Kaja Kallas' speech? We have entered a new era with uncertainties over the principles we have held dear over the past decades. Yet, in the face of these challenges, Europe can find strength in its core identity. Ah, yes, Europe can find strength in its core identities, its values of canceling elections, its values of imprisoning opposition, its values of pushing for war with the #1 nuclear power in the world. A power which has hypersonic missiles and orezhniks. That's right. Europe can find strength in its identity, according to stunning and brave Kaja Kallas. I love it when they give each other awards. I love it. The globalists, they love to give each other awards. Here you go, take an award. Here you go, take an award. There you go. Happy? Yes, happy. Very happy to get this award. Now I'm a real diplomat. I'm at the level of Kissinger. Though, would you want to be at Kissinger's level? I don't know. But Kaja Kallas is probably very proud of herself. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like what I'm wearing in this video update. 15% off all items on the Duran shop. Use the code SPRING15 to get that discount. I will see everybody tomorrow. a bit of a long video, but man, there was a lot of news to get to. So I believe I'm at the right spot. A friend of mine recommended that I make my way out here to this bridge. I think I got the right place, but I'm just not quite sure. Either way, sun is setting in Limassol, Cyprus, and this spot is fantastic. I'm gonna come here again, do a proper video. Take care.